Joseph, whose hair is always doing crazy things.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you for helping with the podcast this week. Of course, the reason I asked you is because you're a seminarian. You're connected to the Presbyterian Church. You're apparently doing some kind of a paper, including us in a project or a paper you're doing. Tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah, I'm currently in a class called Contextual Introduction to Contextual Analysis, which is basically just trying to train us how to um, look at neighborhoods, see what makes a neighborhood unique, who lives there, aspects of the neighborhood that are vital to the people's lives. And then taking that one step further, looking at the relationship between that neighborhood and the congregations that exist there. And then how do the realities of the neighborhood affect or not affect the makeup of the congregation? And then how does the congregation kind of function and engage in the context of their neighborhood?
Okay. And you selected our church because we're within the neighborhood grid that you picked. And did you tell me that was on Main Street did you say between 9th and 17th, or am I getting some of those
Yep,
numbers?
9th and 17th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why did you pick that grid?
We were told to kind of choose a neighborhood that was different than our own. And that part of Longmont has, as I found out, kind of a long history of Hispanic people. Spanish speaking, there's quite a dense population of Spanish speaking churches and churches that offer Spanish speaking services. So that was why I was originally drawn to that area, because I just thought that was really interesting and wanted to learn more about why that was and what life is like within kind of that part of Longmont.
Okay. So where did you come from 6 years ago?
I was born in Wisconsin, a very small town of 2,800 people on the Mississippi River, and grew up there until middle school. Yeah, and then moved to Columbus, Ohio, in middle school. When I started middle school, was there through high school, did a little stint in Chicago after I graduated high school, then came back to Columbus, and was there up until 6 years ago.
What's the culture difference between Prescott, Wisconsin, and Columbus, Ohio?
It was pretty stark. Prescott being extremely small, most everyone either works in agriculture or agriculture adjacent occupations. And then, moving to Columbus felt like just the biggest city in the world. There was not much diversity in any sense of that word. Like pretty in every category, it was pretty much homogenous. But I remember befriending and getting to know a student who was Islamic in 7th grade. And that was just a whole new world. It was like, whoa, like you believe this thing that's so different. And I remember what was so confronting to me at that time in my 12-year-old self was that he believes this is true, but I believe this is true. And it was kind of this confrontation of worldview and reality that I was not exposed to in a small town like Prescott.
How long have you been married?
It will be 9 years in June.
Okay. Since you're a Midwest farming family, you probably want to have like 7 or 8 kids if you can. Because you need to have hands for the farm.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I'm assuming that you're in seminary because you want to do some sort of ministry work when you get out.
Starting in 9th grade, I think I knew I wanted to be in full-time ministry.
Okay.
What I thought that would look like would be as a cross-cultural mission worker. I started going to Haiti through trips with our church in 9th grade, and then was just kind of really convicted by that reality and the work that goes on in cross-cultural contexts and across language barriers, and that kind of started the path towards ministry.
That's cool that your Lutheran church was into missions, and so they probably did regular trips to Haiti, brought youth group kids to experience life outside of the United States in a different country.
Yep. Yeah, they had a pastor who was on staff who lived in Haiti full time, working with their partner, which was a school and clinic kind of combination.
So, and by the way, when I dated my wife Donna, and we're celebrating our 40th anniversary here in a few months, I was for sure going to be a missionary when we were dating in college, and I had already got her to commit to it, and was pretty sure we were going to go to Ecuador, because I had just read Elizabeth Elliot's book where her husband was martyred along with the other guys, Jim Elliot.
I don't think that door is necessarily closed. Ever since we got married, that was the direction we were headed, and explored various different options. Went through a lot of different trainings and partnered with different sending organizations. Took several different trips to a handful of different places all over the world. We were particularly interested in unreached people groups, so places where a local expression of the church did not exist, where there wasn't a community of believers.
What are some of those countries you went to, if you don't mind my asking?
The Kurdish region of northern Iraq, we went a couple of times. The Caucasus Mountains of southern Russia, like Dagestan, Chechnya area, and then India as well. But we originally moved out here so I could pursue mountain guiding, which I was then planning on using potentially in a place like the Caucasus.
Okay.
Wow. As a means to live and work and connect with people. And I was diagnosed with a thyroid disease, which kind of put a halt on everything because it was pretty high maintenance for a while. And so now we're kind of coming out of that season of me being healthy after that kind of just jarring thing, with a little bit of uncertainty with what the future holds. But the opportunity to go to seminary came up, which had been on my mind for years. And so I don't know if that's a pivot of maybe doing more domestic pastoral ministry afterwards, or if that will be a stepping stone towards still kind of cross-cultural ministry.
Okay. So are you also working as another job or just focusing on seminary?
Yeah, I work, my wife and I had started a video production company. So we work in video production, and then I do some work for a guide service in Boulder as well.
Okay. Yeah. How embarrassing that you're a video production guy and you saw my worst produced video ever Sunday when I don't ever record them at the church. I do them here, but you could barely see me because for some reason my high-tech Apple phone doesn't like the Wi-Fi at our church. So anyway, thank you for not saying anything about that.
Oh, of course.